So just drawing in the belly. So really just trying to get that curved, the simple curve, the fetal curve in the spine at this point. Just really trying to localize that tension. So like a pinpoint of tension in the dantian, which enables everything around it to relax. So the hips and the sacroiliacs relax as you draw the belly. So the other one that's very similar, which is just bringing the hands towards each other and away. So this one, you can really sort of get the other curve, so arching back. riding horse. So just feeling the two obvious circles. So this one in the arms and the equivalent one in the legs. And then also feeling the curve in the spine like this, like making a really big circle. So the back of a circle and your legs being like the front of a circle. Like an S shape through the whole body rather than S shape through the spine. So really trying to get the sacrum blending into the legs. And then there's another circle right here. So just down from the shoulder, so just sweeping down the arm and the sense of a lift in the hands. So this is the bottom of a circle. The arm is the bottom of a circle. The heart qigong just a little bit. Just make the movements as big as possible. So the more I reach up, the more it allows my sacrum to hang down between my legs. And then here as well, like you're trying to reach out, you're sort of holding as big a ball as possible and then really bringing it in. Tail hangs freely. And then just back into prayer posture. And now let's just reach up like we're climbing a rope. So just one hand at a time. So just reach up. So really let the spine tip over. And then just pulling down. So now we're stretching the spine and through our stretching one side. So just try and get maximum extension. And then when you're at the top, just sort of close the fist. Imagine you're just grabbing like a bar that's up there, and then just relax here and try and get a feeling that you're sort of hanging from what it is that you're holding. So the sacrum can really stretch the lower back. So my legs are just very loose. They're just sort of loosely holding the sacrum, which is hanging. And then the other side. So it'd be a great piece of apparatus. A bar up there. Or probably better would be like one of those handles that you hold onto on the bus, hanging from the ceiling on a rope. So there's some sort of movement in it. It's not rigid. Relax the sacrum. Let it hang. So the arm is really reaching up, but my legs are just sagging. Yeah. So normally, if you ask someone to do this, they'd use their legs to push up into their arms. So here it's just the extension is only in the arm and the spirit, of course, and everything else just hanging off it. I want the feeling that I'm just hanging from this handle. So what would happen? How would the body open? What shape would it take? How much would the sacrum swing forwards if I'd really held onto this handle and just released my feet from the ground? Now let's try the same thing, but just forwards. So now just reaching forwards as far as you can, and then pulling in. Again, like you're pulling a rope, like you're pulling in a boat or something. Someone's thrown you the mooring rope, and you're just pulling it in, and just feel the quality as that boat would move slowly. So again, maximum extension. So it really turns you. So your eyes are turned away from the thing you're reaching towards. This is the thing. So I'm sort of reaching really into the sort of my peripheral vision, right at the edge of my peripheral vision. I can barely see this hand. And then I draw it into my central vision. Again, I'm reaching with the hand, but the sacrum is just hanging loosely. So the shoulder is pulled open, but the spine isn't affected really. So feel the sacroiliacs. So you want those to be open so that your weight can just stream down. It can just split at the sacrum down each leg. And now let's just try just a few, just reaching to the side wall. So my right hand reaching to the left, and then draw that in. So this should get you round even further. Don't be tempted to look at the hand that's going out. You're turning away from it with your vision. It's like lucky dip. You're not sure what you're reaching into. So you should be able to just really just look at the back wall easily. And once you're in position, just relax the legs, relax the sacroiliacs. And just feel the energy, just feel something building up a little. One more this side and one more the other, so just reaching. Yeah, so I'm in position and I just relax the hip area. When you relax that area, there's a feeling that something from your sacrum can just extend down the legs and touch the ground. So that's your root, really. The root comes out of the spine rather than the feet. I mean, it does come out of the feet, but from that extension down the legs, from the spine. Just let the head go right around, almost like you're a bit shy. You don't want to look at what it is you're reaching into. What we don't want is for the extension to make the sacrum tip or tilt. So we have these circles. So the circle of the arms, the circle of the legs, the circle of the spine, getting rid of that lower curve in the lumbar spine. The curve in the arms here, and the curve in the legs. Now we also obviously have smaller circles that are sort of more localized. So the circles here, so one here, and one here, one here, one here. The armpits have a circle in them. The leg pits have a circle in them. And numerous ones all around the body. So let's just work on this circle here and with this circle, but just by making a circle really, just with the hand. You trying to get, as in Tai Chi, the trace coming from the spine turning, from the waist turning, rather than from too much action in the arm. Feeling the legs. We want the legs to hold the sacrum very lightly. If you were going to pick up a precious, fragile object and move it, you'd grasp it so lightly, you'd really cradle it in your hands. So you weren't actually putting any force on it, it was simply the weight of the object. So that's how we want to feel the sacrum being held by the legs, by the hip bones. Feel this action as the hand comes in and starts to go out here. It sort of just stretches the joint open a little bit. So I'm coming in the middle, and then it's here, it's like I'm tracing the outside edge of the foot. So the outside edge of the feet is akin to the peripheral vision. So the energy sinks down into the ground on the outside edge of the foot, and it comes up on the inside, the instep, the big toe. Quiet inside, and just watching, just observing, just listening. The word silent and the word listen are anagrams. And then just the other hand. As I come around the outside edge and forwards, my hand has a sense of lifting. So that's like the lightness. And then here as it comes in, it's just getting heavy. Remember when we used to push hands? It's basically pushing hands, this. When we used to push hands, you try and draw the person down as well as in. So the hand drops a little bit here. So here I'm sinking into my outside edge, into my root. And then here, coming up, that's just a lightness. So just working slowly. The emphasis is on the listening rather than the doing. If my emphasis is on the doing, then I'll tend to get tense. And if I'm tense, then I can't listen. So I'm just trying to keep my hold of the sacrum as light as possible. That's the way to sort of look at it. You find the sacrum getting tense, getting anxious, then you just need to loosen it a little. So turning, trying not to move from side to side too much. Just really feel the sacrum. You're just trying to keep it still and just allowing it to move, to turn. All the time, everything around the sacrum is relaxing, releasing, 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 releasing. So that I have some sort of reach from my spine through my legs to the ground. And now just both together, but with a sense of them being separate. So you don't want it just to be this sort of mindless machine that's chugging either side like a train. You're really feeling each one. You're keeping them separate. So you're maintaining equilibrium. My footsteps have all the hard labor of petals falling on lace. So just consider like a poetic image like that. So it's not just a pleasure, the image, it's a becoming. For me, poetry it transforms you. If you open up to its beauty and its suggestion, its imagery, then you become it. It enables you to, so it's very different from using words to convey information. Okay, now let's bring it back to riding horse. Now just feel these big bulbous circles trying to sort of expand outwards, not just here, but here as well. So we're so used to using our arms to sort of express and do things. We tend to privilege them. So we'd like the legs to be just as expressive as the arms. We're just really feeling these pockets here. And really that's what the figure of 8 is for. So the figure of 8 has basically 2 circles if I'm doing the figure of 8 like this. So there's the top circle, which is really what we've just been doing, bringing it in like this. And then when we turn the hand over, like in pushing hands, remember that? John used to make a lot of this twist here. That's basically just going around the bottom of the circle, but the bottom of the circle has become very contracted. So by opening the bottom circle up and making it as big, if not bigger, than the top circle, we're just giving a little bit more emphasis to the legs and to the root. So let's just try. So just one at a time. So just going over the top circle. And then here, really going down underneath the foot. I'm cutting under the foot. So now it's the top circle that's not terribly important, and it's the bottom circle that is just melting down and into the ground. So exactly the same as what we were doing before with the circles, but now it's just become a figure of 8. Now it's not just the arm, it's the leg and the ground. Trying my best to keep the sacrum as it was before, held as gently as possible by my legs and my hips. As we go down the figure 8, just really feeling it. It's sinking, it's just sinking. It's a melting downwards. It's a release. So this is a release. And then this is like a brightening, a cheering up. Something is lifting. Feel the energy. The energy of sinking, melting into the ground, and the energy of rising, brightening, lightening, lifting. Feel the trace of the hand like a caress, like you're caressing a naked body. You're caressing your own naked body. So how does it make you feel? It's all in the feeling. I remember telling John, Ezra Pound, on his letterhead, he had his motto. His motto was Amo Ergo Sum. I love, therefore I am. Yeah, so his counter to Descartes. And John said, no, I feel, therefore I am. The second hand. Remember that story of little Kevin, that student of John's. He went to Vancouver on holiday to see a friend, and to kill two birds with one stone, he thought, oh, I'll pop in on Dr. Chi and see if he'll show me some Tai Chi. So he did. So he knocked on the door, and Dr. Chi answered. He says, hello, introduced himself. I'm a student of John Kells. I wonder if you could possibly show me some Tai Chi. And Dr. Chi said, oh, wait a sec, he said, and he rushed off. And he came back with a copy of the New Testament and said, read this, he says, it's much better than Tai Chi. And so, when people ask me, oh, recommend a good book on Tai Chi, I normally tell them to simply read Shelley or something. Because it's not about information, it's about opening up and just feeling, becoming sensitive, becoming sensual, becoming sexual. So after Dr. Chi dismissed Kevin with the New Testament, which is a great gift, really, I would have treasured that book. I think he threw it away. He phoned John up and told him what happened. John says, just go, because Kevin was like an odd job man. He was really good at mending things and things. So John said to him, just go back and ask him if he's got anything he needs fixing. So he did, and there's loads of stuff in the house that needed fixing. So Kevin got to work, and when he finished, Dr. Chi showed him some Tai Chi. So a phrase that John used to really like was, make them an offer they can't refuse. And he says, basically, that's what you have to do with the Tao. You have to make it an offer it can't refuse. So you have to really show your sincerity, your willingness to sacrifice and devote yourself. And then it will open itself up to you. If you're picking and choosing and being the average person, then it will just hide completely. And now just both together, trying to keep them separate, even though they're together. I don't want it just to become this mechanical machine. It's a living machine. It's an organic machine. It's always threatening to lose control. So this is what we want to feel with our exercises. It's being held in place by its form, but the contents are always threatening to spill out, to overflow. For me, these exercises, they're all like really beautiful dwellings. It's like a space that just invites you in, that you can just become quiet inside and you can just feel it changing your energy. So for that, you just have to be quiet inside, not distracted, not thinking about other things. So you lose yourself. This is what John was so good at. John would completely lose track of time. He'd be enjoying it so much. The temptation all the time is because we're used to feeling with the upper body, especially the head and the arms. We're always being drawn up there. So here I really want to make sure that it's the bottom of the figures of eights, the reaching down into the ground, that I'm privileging. So that positive discrimination, I'm just sort of making sure I give that more emphasis to balance my tendency to privilege the top. It's only when I get into my legs can my lightness rise. So something in me has to be really relaxed and just willing to just sink down into the ground, allow the ground to become a sink before my real lightness can rise. I mean, we all have phony lightness. That's basically what we are trying to produce all the time, is pleasure. You know, like John used to say, the average person just goes from one pleasure to the next. But it's sort of phony. It's got a heavy sort of cloying, selfish quality. So we want to just relax all that and just get into the ground. And then what comes up is really light. So light, it's almost imperceptible. So relaxing the waist. So for me, I'm not really quite sure what that means, but for me, it's just allowing the shoulders, almost allowing the space between my hips and my shoulders to contract so that the shoulders can feel like they're right on top of the hips. The arms feel a lot lower than you're used to, which is good, which is what we'd like. So the arms really do stem from the heart rather than from the head. So the arms are instruments of the heart, the same way that the legs are instruments of the dantian, of the belly. And the sense organs, especially my eyes, my ears, are instruments of the head, but it shouldn't be the thinking head. It should simply be the awake head. Thinking comes at a real cost. We all know what it's like, when you start thinking to yourself, when you come back to the space you're in, you think, shit, anything could have happened whilst I was daydreaming. Because I lost the room, I lost the space, I lost the here and now. So your sense organs are with the here and now. They're your gateway to the world, really. Our culture really totally privileges the eyes over the other sense organs, especially now, everyone's connecting to their virtual world through their phone, through this sort of tunnel. So we want to really just open up the ears. So listening rather than seeing. So if I really want to see the thing I'm looking at, I turn away from it. And it's as though I'm pointing my ear at it to try and just pick up the little messages. It's really the peripheral vision. It's sort of seeing with the peripheral vision. You see energy with your peripheral vision. You see things with your central vision. The people just, they're not interested in energy anymore. Energy and atmosphere, the feeling of the space. So it's like a football match. You watch a football match on TV and you probably get a better view of it because the cameras can focus in. You switch cameras depending upon the action on the pitch, but there's no atmosphere. If you go to a football match, the thing that bowls you over, the thing which is almost unbearable, is the noise and the excitement. And what's happening on the pitch is almost by the by. And so, we're content with images now. It's like the sky painted on the inside of the umbrella. That's enough now. So we just want to open up to everything else, everything that we've lost. So these two circles, so where there's like double circles, basically when they join together, it becomes a figure of 8, or you can think of it as the top of the heart. So here is like I have a heart. This is the bottom of the heart where my fingers touch. And then it comes round like this. And then the same here. And then the same here. It's a strong image. We just want to feel it. So the sacrum is just nestling into the trough in the middle of the heart, of the legs. Head suspended from above. And the sacrum and the coccyx just dangling down. And then you have these two meaty, hefty sides whose responsibility it is to move this around and feed it. So just imagine an object that's sort of suspended by various springs attaching it. So that's the feeling of the sacrum. So it's not being held and compressed. It's being stretched, all the places which join it. So my hips, my legs, my spine, everything, even my arms feel like they're pulling up from the sacrum. And the sacrum is just sort of poised, held in space by these springs. So let's just bring it up. So exactly the same image, the sacrum held by springs. And you can think of this like this hold being held on a spring. So everything's got a bounce. That's what makes it feel like it's alive. It's ready to move. And it's very responsive, just the slightest pressure and it'll spring back. It will yield and then it will return.